Testing microphone, testing microphone. Hello, hello. We're back here for the third part of the prop, the lantern. And last time that we played around with the file, we were doing the VDB sections, right? So we had all of those parts of over here at the top, and we were able to manage to create the fillets. And those fillets, we ended up doing like two choices, right? And the ones that we liked most, we're going to use it. So today I want to focus a little bit more on the aspect of some little small details like for the bolts and all the rest that we have on the concept itself. So we have actually, I bring the concept right here, I mean reference. There's a little things here like that we need to make sure that we do those. So those are probably going to be very fast to do. Because we want to add those together with the VDB, right? But since we already have the automated parts of the VDB, I'm just going to keep playing around with the VDB a little bit. So you guys have any questions, just keep me posted. Let me just organize the file here. 1 second. So we ended up bringing the forms over here that we had, right? And ended up peaking those surfaces in order to actually have the intersection. And after that, the fact, we ended up creating a polywire. We sent it to VDB again, and we transferred, right, those surfaces, right, in order to actually get the fillet that we needed in between the parts. Okay, so now that we have those, I think that this is good enough for now. I mean, compared to the reference, I mean, it's very different, I know, but it seems to be okay for now. So we're gonna be able to deal with some more stuff later. And you can see that how this guy right here, it's rounded a little bit more to outside, so we can manage to do that as well. So let's go back to let's see where the swirls are, right here. I'm gonna do that on this guy, so I'm gonna bring it back here. And let's check the curve or what's happening right here. And we ended up creating a point, right? I mean a line. And on this line, are you guys being able to hear me or no? If anyone can shout out. I don't know if the microphone is working or not. I believe it is. So we ended up creating this sort of a movement, right, to the points itself in the middle. So I'm gonna move a little bit like this and just check it out and see how that works. This seems to be a little bit better because honestly we're gonna get a little more of the shape in the middle. So let's just check on the high. I would put a little bit more, so let's just do a little bit more. So try this. Oops, that's too much. Nope, nope, nope. So in order to do very small, we're gonna have to go a little slower. There you go. I think this is good. enough. And it seems that the reference is a little thicker. It actually doesn't do the turn on those guys, but I think that's okay. Like, we can manage to do it this way no matter what. And we're gonna make sure that the line itself is a little longer. So I'm gonna put like 0.015 perhaps. There you go. All right, let me just check here. Okay. And on this guy, let me try to see if I can get a little bit better of the curve right here. Okay. Yeah, this is a little bit better. And the bevel seems to be very thick, but that's good, because as soon as we go to the low poly phase, right, we're gonna be able to manage that a little bit better. Another thing that, so if you, let's just say we wanted to do the parts that are on the top a little bit more thin or anything like that, well, you can do it through the sweep itself. So you're gonna have to apply the scale right here. So I wouldn't touch that. I would just leave it that way. And let's go back to our VDB section. Let's see what we get here. All right, so we have the fillets and everything is doing correctly. So now let's go back to our details that we have remaining. So we're gonna start by the top right here. So I'm gonna come back to what we have right here. And we know that we have the reference right here for the top. So actually I'm gonna template something else here so we can actually see the top part. There you go. I'm gonna go to the side of the UI. I'm gonna create a, let me see. In order to create a cross, I'm gonna go to the curve first. I believe it's a little bit faster. So let's just do a curve. Check the image again. Okay, so it starts kind of like, that's easy. Okay, we'll actually do the cross first, because I think the cross will give us the sense of what the shape of the swirl needs to be done. So let's go get the cross. Let's see. I'm gonna have to put the box very close to wherever it is on the top. So I'm gonna put like 0.01, 0.01, 0.01. And let's bring the box up right there. There's also another way, for example, if let's just say you didn't want to make the hand translation, the transform of the box, you're able to say, for example, we know that the top of this thing is called subnet 11, right? So you're able to just go to the box itself and say bbox, and then call it out the subnet 11. And then over here, the UI over there, you're gonna see the help of it itself. So we want to make sure that we use the dy max. Okay. So now that you see that the box is actually getting right there on top, which is awesome, in the center of the pivot, which actually we want it that way. So that's good. And then I'm gonna try to make sure that we have the thickness correctly, whatever the cross is doing. So let me just check the cross again. Seems to me that it's too small right now, so I'm gonna bring that guy in. I'm gonna bring that surface right here. So you can see now that what's happening is we have the box in the middle right there, but at the same time the movement of whatever the gizmo over there is happening because we are locking down this B box. So what we may want to do here is copy this parameter, right? And we're gonna add this guy, this parameter divided by 2. So I'm gonna put a relative reference right there. And let's just divide this by 2. So you can see now that we have a little bit more on whatever's on the top. But again, we may need to create just like a minus 0.01 or something like that in order to be on top. So now if we move, we know the size of it. It's gonna stay right there wherever we have on the top. Just in case you want to like go a little bit more procedural. I mean, not procedural, but like parameter-wise, and not rely on having to redo things later. Okay, so now see the height of the cross. It seems to be like maybe half of whatever the top is. So let's just go back and check. That seems okay. And we want to make sure that we don't have a lot of the width right there. Just put a little bit less. Okay, and then I'm gonna create another box. And let's see how can I do this. So we want to have like numbers that are more not so random like that. So I'm gonna just make sure that we have the numbers a little bit more clean and not like super decimals. Sometimes it does this. I don't know why, but I think it's because it's trying to get the number. See, like I don't remember the name of it, but some softwares relying on not showing that. Houdini shows like all the decimals of it. Sometimes it hurts my hand. I'm like, why is it doing this? But unfortunately, it happens. So, all right. So I want to have the size 1.01. So I'm gonna just check here. And I do not want this guy anymore. So we're gonna delete this channel. And I'm gonna call this box right here cross 01, and this one cross 02. And in this guy, I'm gonna get the parameter of whatever we have as the center of the bounding box of cross 1. So I'm just gonna copy this gentleman right here and put this way. And let's see, what do we want? I'm gonna put as a size, okay? And I'm gonna say I want the cross 01. And then this. Let's see what's wrong. Oh yeah, so yeah, we need to make sure that we have the minimum or the max of the thing, so it goes there, and then we need the size of whatever the same box is. So we're gonna have to get this value and minus that. Let's see if that works. No, wait. Forgive me. I'm trying to find the solution. There you go. And then divided by 2, I believe. Yeah. And then I can rotate this box right now in order to have what we need. And we need to rotate in 90 degrees in the Z. And so let's just see if, okay, so we have a cross. So we need to make sure that we move this a little bit further up. So I'm going to put like minus 0.01. And the size of whatever we have here, we don't need to be as much. So I'm going to put that as 0.04. No, that's actually the thickness. So I'm going to put 0.01. Oh, wait. Why is that doing that? So 1 second. Okay, what is that then? What? Let me see, what am I doing wrong? Should be the thickness, okay. Okay, this is the movement of going up. Oh, okay, I see what's going on. It's because we're putting the center of the box there. So what we can do instead of that, let's just leave it that way, and I'm gonna bring it a transform. I'm not gonna go exact like perfect because we're doing art over here. So let's see if this works. That seems to be good. Okay, and we're gonna boolean those guys together. So I'm gonna bring a boolean. And instead of subtract, I want to make sure that it's union, right? So in this union, we have this right now. And we're able to, let's bring a little bit more subdivisions to this box. So what we can do here is to just add divisions. So I'm going to do the same here. I don't know why is it not Boolean anymore. That's the question. Let me see. We want to have only 2, actually 1 right here. No, I actually want to have more. So we're going to have 5. And then this 1 and 1. Let's see what this does. It's not Booleaning. I don't know why. Interesting. Let's do the let's do another way here. An easier way that it just manages to do the correct job. All right. So what I want to do here is I'm gonna, instead of doing that, I'm gonna use those guys as a reference. So I'm gonna merge those guys together. Very perfect. And what I want is, I'm going to create a curve. And put this point. Let me do C. Let's put the points here because we're gonna have to move them later. So I'm just gonna leave that way. Just finish this shape for now. And what we want is, I'm gonna get back to the curve itself. I'm gonna put the points like in the middle right here. So add a point, bring it here. Put another point right here. Oh my god, it's gonna give me a bug, like the preview is not happening as fast. And I'm gonna put another point right here. Let's bring that down like this. Alright, and then let's check the shape. Seems to be good. And then we can just do an extrude and it should be fine. Oops. I hate that, like this this whole part of whatever the scale of the decimals are happening to me right now, because it's just so annoying that we have to manage to put like super small numbers, and I really didn't want to have to do that. But that's life. Let's put 0.5 perhaps. Yep. And then put it out back right here. And then what we can do is I'm going to reverse. Put this guy here, and let's just check with the whole object. So I'm going to put that there. Okay, and then just check the normals and see if it's working. Perfect. All right. So we have the bot, we have the cross there. But as you can see, a little bit on the reference itself, it will show. No, actually, it's a little bit, just like the little bent outside of those lines. So I'm gonna just try to manage to do that to get us a little bit more detail. So what we want to do is this curve. I'm gonna get this point up a little notch, this point down. Actually, I'm gonna just do an edit after the fact. I think it's easier. So I want to get the points right here, there, and there. So as soon as I do the scale, right, what's gonna happen is, I actually didn't add the edit, and I don't know why. So I'm just gonna do the edit here. And then press enter. As soon as I do this, we can do a scale right here. And remember, we had the, at least on the transform, I remember I put the pivot, right, wherever I want it as to be the center of the object. Well, what I want to do here is the same. So I'm going to do CX, CZ, CY, sorry, and then CZ. It's giving me an error. Let me see what's going on. Okay, so there's another function for the pivot on the edit mode. So we're not going to be able to use that one here because I don't remember the function right now. But what we could do is just select the points and scale whatever we want here. I think it's getting to be global. So we can do this by local frame, I believe. Let's see how it goes. Yeah, this is a little bit better. There you go. So basically, I'm just scaling a little bit up, and I think that we are able to do less orange by connectivity. So what happens is it's gonna scale just in between whatever it's connected, right? Not necessarily everything. So okay, there we have, and then let's put that back in here. Let's see if we get the cross right there. Okay, perfect. And see if it's thick enough. Okay, that's good. I'm gonna bring a little bit of subdivisions for this, right? Because we need it for VDB later, and also our fillet. And since we have this subdivisions, we're gonna just use the crease as automatically. The only problem is, as you can see, we don't have some parts in the middle that are really, that there's no triangulation, and that's necessary for you to actually have a better approach here. So what we can do is, let's go back to our edit, and let's create poly split right here, and press Q right here. There you go. Perfect. And let's bring that into our last section and see if the normals are good. Okay, perfect. We have enough subdivisions for the cross to actually be used. Since we have a lot of objects that are having like that little tiny bevel, and I find that really good, what we can do is, I'm going to copy the bevel that we had. Actually, I'm going to just do another one here. It's fine. So we're going to select this, right? And I'm going to create a bevel right at the bottom of it. And I want to create the distance. I'm going to put like 0.01 perhaps. That seems a little too thick, so I'm going to have to put 0.5. Okay, good. This seems fine. Let's see if the subdivision does a good job. Yep. So just to get that, you know, little tiny detail, but at the same time, it will shine a little more in the specularity if we end up baking it to be low poly. All right, so let's go back to our next part, which is the swirls. So I'm gonna create the swirls for us. I'm gonna template this right now. I'm gonna try this to be as quick as possible here, guys, so we can manage to do the rest. So how would I do the swirl? The same way as we did that. We can actually even copy. So like what we can do here is, let's go back here in this section, and I'm gonna copy this whole thing. Actually, I'm gonna just duplicate this guy right here, okay? And what we can do is, since we only have two, I'm going to try, we're gonna have to bring it here, and just, instead of copying this gentleman by 6, we're gonna do it this way and put it 180. And the same other one right here, and 180. And one thing that I wanna do is, I'm gonna take off the curve. I'm gonna save the file in order to not crash. I'm gonna take off the curve and bring the subnetwork right here, the input, as the top. This way, if I have this curve right here, right, if I want to create a swirl, I just connect this guy right here, and it's going to show by itself. So I'm just pretty much reusing the format or whatever we have there. So, oops, sorry, if I ended up pressing the wrong button. Okay, so we need to create a curve. So let's see, we want a swirl, like kind of, we can move the points later. So I'm gonna just do something basic right now. And I'm getting snapping, so I don't want the snapping, so I'm gonna take that off. Okay, that seems to be good. And as you can see, automatically already does the job for me. So let's just check the reference and see if it's good. It seems to me that it's a little bit, I mean, of course, it's much thinner, and also it's kind of smaller, and the cross itself, it seems to not be the size that I want. So I'm gonna bring some points up a little notch. What we can do is, we're gonna do that in the edit mode, because I want to make sure that the cross is tall enough. And I want to select, let's see, I want to make sure that I scale those guys a little bit more. Actually, I'm going to transform those so we can, no, we have to scale. But it's going to scale in between them, so I'm going to have to change the local origin to local frame. I'm not sure if that's going to do it. Yeah, it's a little bit better. Let's see. No, not even close, but seems to be okay if we just get those points and scale this way. I'm gonna do by hand. We don't have to be like perfect on this tutorial. Right. Seems a little bit large, but I think it's better for us to actually fit the swirl there. And again, I don't want to be extremely accurate with the size of things right now. All right, so we need to change this curve. I'm gonna bring the points where I wanted them to be. So I'm gonna try to create the swirl and touch the top part of it. the roof of the cross, right? And then like that. So let me see the reference. Seems a little bit too large right here, and because it actually finishes right here, so I'm gonna have to bring those points a little more to inside. I'm doing Alt Tab because honestly, you guys probably want to see the reference itself as well. All right, seems to be good now, and what we want to do is let's decrease the size of it and the thickness. So I'm gonna come back inside of this whole chain right here, and I want, let's see, the line itself seems to be too thick, so I'm gonna bring this to be 0.075. Let's just see if that works. Perfect. And what else do we have here? The poly extrude seems to be too large as well, so I'm gonna bring 2.2, but I did wrong. Yeah, seems to be better now. Okay. And the bevel, we have too many subdivisions and also too much beveling, so I'm gonna bring this 0.05. Now it kind of seems to be too thin, and this point over here doesn't necessarily need to be that far away, so I'm gonna do that here by 0.1. It's causing that because, or I believe it's our poly extrude. So if I actually go here, it seems fine, right? Let's try to, I'll delete this edit right here. I'm not gonna put that point in the middle. I'm just gonna leave one and see if that works better. Okay, perfect. Because I don't think it's doing a lot, and there's another problem here, which is probably, let's see. I think it's the bevel. Yeah, I knew it was the bevel. Okay. Let's see, just one and put a solid. And I want to make sure that I ignore all the flatter edges, but it seems to still be giving me some issues. So I'll try individually. Perfect. Okay. Yeah. See, that's the problem. So as soon as we have changed some things here and there, if we don't get accountability of what's is happening with the chain, we get those issues. So, all right, I think that's good enough. Let's check the reference. Yeah, for now, I think that is okay. No, it's a little too thin. We'll go back there and put this 2.5. Okay. I know I'm being a little bit picky here, but I really want to make sure that it looks good. All right, and then on the sweep itself, as you can see on the reference, I'm gonna try to zoom in the image. Seems to me over here is getting a little smaller over there as well, right? So we want to make sure that we do that. Also, it gives us some sort of triangle, or even like it does as a trapezoid on the profile. So let's just try to do that as well. So we're gonna bring the sweep right here, and I'm gonna bring the scale along the curve and bring the parts that are on the right here on the ends. We're gonna bring it lower. I think that's good enough. And we want the grid itself, where is it? It's actually not grid. Let's put this a little thicker, even more perhaps 4. And then the line itself a little smaller, so I'm going to bring this to 2.6. And the thing is, we're doing this by extruding after the fact, right? What we can do actually is, since the grid over here, we know that the size, let me see, the line, it's 0.006, so we can do this. We'll put a grid here, okay, and just put 2 by 2, and then bring that to be 0.006. 0.0. And if we put this on the sweep, it's going to do that for now, of course, because we need to change the direction of whatever the plane is doing. So there you go. Now you're seeing that we're getting a little bit better of that shape. And as soon as I do that, I'm able to, let's go back to the grid itself, and we may need to see which direction, because I want to change points over here, and we want to make sure that they scale a little bit in. So let's just check and see if this is good. Okay, wait, it's another direction. So what we can do here is, let's see the points. Let's put the 3 and 4. That's not it yet. Let's do 1 and 2. Or 1 and 4. No, which ones are now? That's what I'm wondering. 1 and 3. Ugh, okay, let's go back there to the grid. Okay, so let me try it this way. Now the problems of forgive me. The problem of the edit is that it keeps some transformations whenever the more groups you select, and I don't see the history here. I don't understand why this happens, and so sometimes I have to simply take it off, right, and bring it back. So let's just do that. I'm gonna bring the points. I believe those are the 2 then, because there's no other way. Let's select the points, and I want to scale them down in Y. There you go. Let's see if that works. Okay, we got the interior part, so it's definitely the other 2 points. There's no other way. So I'm gonna put 1 and 3. Oh my God, Hugo, what the hell? I think what's happening is that, why is it scaling that way? Oh no, it was actually correct. It's correct right here. So now we can scale this a little lower. So it gets thinner at the shape right there. And we want to create caps, like a simple polygon, so we make sure that it closes down the whole thing. And then we have the bevel, as we had before. And let's go back to our subdivision and let's just check if it's good enough. Okay, perfect. So now we go back to what we have here, and let's bring this low poly where we want those guys to be, which is where the fillet wants to go, and the cross also needs to be on the fillet. So let's bring that as well. Okay, and then the high polys. So I'm gonna bring this up a little notch, and let's create a subnet for this as well. We can do, yeah, it's gonna actually create 2 outputs for us if we do this. Let's see. Yeah, it did. So now we're able to get and copy those 2. Oh, actually, might not even need it because the outputs are already there. So there you go. So we know the output 1 is the high poly and 0 is the low. We might actually want to create, let's see, let me think here. We might want to create a little bit of subdivision on the low itself, because we definitely don't want to have like some anomalies, I guess, in the shape and the modeling. Whenever we send it to the VDB, we want to have some divisions, not like full-blown divisions, but it's good to have some. So I'm going to bring that actually higher on the high poly and come back. Perfect. So the low poly, reminder, goes right here, and the high poly goes there. Perfect. So let's bring this to this side. This curve stays right here. I'm going to delete those guys because we don't need them any longer. Let's just save the file. Now let's check and see if the VDB is happening with the fillet. Because then we can start by, if we look at this, we also have like 2 little lines there, and the bottom. I'm not going to worry about the bottom. I'm not going to do it because honestly, we're going to spend a lot of time with something that you guys can just do by yourselves. But there's one little detail that I noticed if we actually go check the low poly. So I'm going to go back here, which is not low poly, I would call medium poly, yes. And we can see that the bottom part right here has a little sort of lip right there, and it actually follows the turn of this. So right now this guy is too like straight on the bottom, so we're gonna try to fix that by going to the object that we want. So nope. Yeah, I believe this is the one. Okay, cool. So now we go in and let's check what we have. Forgive me. Okay, we're gonna use this. Okay, and apparently it's just scanning the whole thing, but we did like the whole copy, but I needed to make sure that we only copied one part in order to duplicate the whole thing again. So what we're gonna do is select before the split, select the points that we want in the bottom. Let's just scale a little bit up. Let's scale a little bit this guy as well. And before, no, actually, no, that's fine. Let's just leave it this way. Let's see if the crease and subdivision and the copies go just fine. Yeah, that seems a little bit better. Might be too much, so I'm gonna just try to scale down. It seems to me it's getting all the points. See, like, I don't have the history of this. I don't know why. If someone knows, I would love to get the answer for this. But for some reason, it just doesn't show. So maybe there's a history back inside of the edit node. I don't know. So that seems to be okay. So let's just go back there and check the low poly again and bring those curves that we wanted for this to be useful. So I'm gonna lock the screen right here and bring this guy in. Remember, we are able to, so let's just unlock it. We're able to actually bring the subnetwork and bring the curve outside. So we're gonna do that because honestly I find it much easier to play with this. So let's go back there and let's just do this, because now I'm able to just interact with the curve that I want right here instead of actually relying on doing outside. Okay, I don't see the points though. I'm blind. Let me try to take off the reference. Oh, I think it's because yeah, so it's just not going to the output for some reason. I don't know why. Oh, oops, I'm putting that on the cross. Why? Oh my god. Okay, the cross is fine. Let's just leave the cross there. I don't want to do it on the cross, so I'm gonna do that here. So I'm gonna do that here. I'm gonna cut and copy right here and bring it there. Perfect. Now we know that we have that guy there. Okay, perfect. So now we want to see the reference right here, which we're pretty much using with the high poly right now. So it's gonna bring that curve to be edited, and let's bring some of the points up right here, and that guy up as well. See the reference seems to go a little bit more down. Yeah, so this guy may needs to go that way, and let's just move this point right here. I think I exaggerated. Yeah, okay. All right. Yeah, that's good. I mean, it's not like perfect, but a little bit better of the shape and form. I don't want to spend a lot of time with it. And then we will, that's my ADD right there. Calling, like, just trying to get like OCD details everywhere. And the bottom part right here, whenever you look at the reference, it brings that bottom part to be a little bit more down. And also the same shape that we have as the ring on the top, it's gonna go inside. So if you look at the image, there's a little interior of it. So we're gonna copy this guy right here over there, and let's bring the high poly of that over here, and the low poly there. So let's just go back in, and what we want to do is just pretty much scale down the transformation of it. So we're gonna bring this guy here, and then I'm gonna see where can I right here after the subnetwork, because we have some bevels that we did before, I believe. So yeah, transform. Let's see if we have the pivot transformation. I believe I did. Center pivot right there, perfect. And then now we are able to scale that down and see what we get. So for example, let's just say we wanted to have this attribute right here. So I'm going to actually do this. I want to copy this parameter, and let's go back in here. And as soon as we do this, I want to get the interface of this guy. I'm going to make this invisible in order for us to not play around with this. And we're going to have a float vector tree, which is the scale, right? I'm going to call this scale, whatever. And I'm able to go here, just say I wanted 1, 1, 1, right? And I'm going to copy the parameter, come back in. Because now I'm able to, like, okay, I know that I have that scale outside, and I'm going to be able to see what's going on with the shape. So now I'm able to just do it from outside, so I'm able to see what is happening in the whole file. So, and we're gonna make sure that we scale on the Y as well, not that much. Okay, that seems to be a little bit better. I mean, it's just a little detail right there. So, in order for us to have that shape over there, and also we are able to do the same for the translate. So, but I'm not gonna bother too much with that right now, but I just want to show how sometimes it's easier for you to have some parameters outside so you can visualize what you're doing. All right, and then we have the bulb, and I'm not gonna worry about the bulb right now, and just the bottom part right there where like it has that little lip. I just want to make sure that we have that lip, so as soon as we get the VDB working, it's gonna get that shape and form. And we can see that even like the parts where I did the cylinder itself, the shape and form over here, if we actually draw this on a paper and bring that, what we have here, mine is completely off whatever the reference is. Okay, so that's one of, if you are willing to actually go like crazy on that part, please do so. I mean, want to definitely follow our direction or anything like that. I'm not bothering with like perfection here. It's more about the technique of it. Okay. All right, so still, sometimes I do bother. It's my OCD itself. All right, so then we have all the shapes and forms, and now we're gonna have to bring this part down. Let me find where the bottom part is. No. Okay, this part. And this part we can do outside. It's fine because we just optimize the time. So I'm gonna check the reference. Too much. Right here seems to be good. Okay, let's just select the whole thing, and we may need subdivisions. Now that I know I even said like, oh, we might not even need the subdivisions for the bottom part, but I believe we will. So let's go back there and scale. I mean, move it a little bit lower and scale up a little bit. Just want to make sure that it shows the cap, right? The shape and that is going outside. Just gives that little sense of like, oh, you know, someone thought about it. And also because I want to make sure that the fillet is there. So in case we get the fillet there. I believe in the concept, it doesn't show much of a fillet there, so we may not even need it, but that's okay. All right, now let's go and do one of the things is, you can see that this part right here, it was not getting the fillet before, right? Because we ended up not bringing to the low poly there. So we definitely want to make this guy go to the fillet. Okay. Let's see the other ones. This one doesn't need, but this one, let's see. Yeah, this one seems to need because of the cross. So we were gonna have to separate some things here and there. So you can see that this two can be separate, and just the top over here part, right, is gonna go outside of whatever we have. So I'm gonna just do that right now. I'm gonna make sure that we have the curve. Let's see, where did we do this? This is the curve, okay. And we have the subdivision. I'm not gonna merge this, so I'm gonna take the merge off. We have polyfill right here. I'm gonna put another polyfill right there. All right, so now we will do, let me see, let me think what we can do here. I'm gonna put two outputs. See if this is too high poly. Yeah, it is kind of high poly right now, so we may actually have to put another two sub networks. So I'm gonna delete those outputs for now. I'm gonna bring that outside. Okay, no, I'm not gonna be able to. No, we'll actually leave the outputs. Sorry, we're gonna bring the outputs again. Trying to not be lost, but I'm being lost. Let's see. So I would do want before the subdivision. Okay, I'm gonna bring that down. I want the low poly here, and I want this other guy before the subdivision as well. Okay. And then what we can do is I'm gonna copy, cut and paste this outside, and just put it here. Now we know we have the first one, which is this, okay, and the other one right here. Oh yeah, because we did this. Let me think. We're getting the high polys only. But I wanted to have just the low, so I'm trying to think of what. Okay. So we do have the highs, which are here. I'm gonna bring that to another sub network and bring two outputs as well. I just want to organize this file a little bit better, so because we're gonna be doing a lot of stuff on top of it. Okay, and then we want to get these two to the high poly, so I'm gonna bring that here. Mine is like burning now. And then bring those two, which are here, to the low. So I'm gonna bring that guy into wherever the VDB was doing. But which one, right? We needed just the first one. Perfect. This guy. With the other one, we don't need because we're not gonna add the fillet on it. And what else? Yeah, we do need that, so we definitely want to have a low poly for this. Let me see the reference, because it seems to me that it's a little bit thicker. No, it's actually very thin. Very, very thin. So I'm going to leave it that way. But at the same time, it seems to me that it's not touching the walls of it. If it doesn't touch the wall of the whole thing, it's not going to cause the fillet to exist. So we need to make sure we do that. So I'm going to try to get locked over here. Let's bring inside. Let's get some transformations going. I'm going to transform here before the subdivision and rotate this perhaps. Let's see what can we do here. I'm thinking, how do I want this to rotate? Okay. Touch it. There you go. Now it's touching, but we're not touching in the bottom, so we need to make sure that we touch in the bottom as well. So I'm gonna rotate a little bit more, like exaggerate it. I don't know why is it rotating the whole thing though. I think I'm rotating the wrong axis, maybe, or I was transforming. I don't remember now. Yeah, this seems to be better. What's going on here? Okay. It's not centered the pivot, so we're gonna make sure that we have the center pivot, bam, as we did before. Bam, okay, perfect. And now we need to transform this part in order to really touch the top, which I think is the Z. It's kind of slow because I'm actually doing it on the high poly, and that's not a good idea, Hugo. But again, I have to. I'm lazy enough right now in order to bring the low poly and move stuff. So, all right, it's touching, perfect. So now let's make sure we have two outputs here. We have the output of the low poly. We will subdivide the whole thing after the fact of the copy, because we want to have a copy for the low and the high. So let's bring that here. And let's do another output. And I want to make sure I have a normal over here. Okay. Perfect. All right. So now that we do this, we are able to. We needed the subdivisions on the bottom. I ended up forgetting. Ugh. So many things that we have to do, right? All right. Let's go back there. Let's just check and see. Let's put a subdivide. Let's squeeze the whole thing and bring that here. I'm going to use this for the low poly and high. I guess actually I don't even need the fillet here, so I'm going to just leave it that way. Perfect. There seems to be the transform is a little too low, so I'm going to bring this to 0.5. Actually 4. There you go. Alright, so perfect. Now let's go and test the fillet. I'm going to save the file. I'm going to bring this whole UI down here because I want to make sure that we have everything a little bit more organized. Hope it doesn't crash. Let's just check. Okay, perfect. Okay, so we're getting the fillet, as you can see, over here, which is nice, on the top right there. All of those parts, they're actually getting connected. Over here is a little bit of a mess, and we need to find out why, right? So, well, how are we gonna see what's happening? We're gonna see which, I think it's these that are giving issues, so I'm gonna try to bring and see step by step what's causing it. Blur, peak. Oh, okay. I think I know what's going on. Whenever I blur it too much, right? What happens is the peak itself is not gonna be able to find what's going on with those parts, and I believe that's causing some like polygons to fly out. So let me we'll keep testing. It seems to be okay though. I don't know why it didn't show the rest. Oh, I think it's not this shape. It's the other shape that is causing the problem. It's this guy. It's not going the high poly there. That's why. So let's just bring the high poly of this over there. That's why. It's recalculating. There you go. But we are having this thing here popping out, which we definitely don't want. So let's try to check and see where is this coming from. And I believe it's probably because how the cross and those intersections are getting in. So what we want to do, let me think here. We can make the cross a little thicker or the swirl a little thinner. So let's just check the constant and see what, the reference. Let's do the swirl a little bit thicker because I think it will look nicer. So I'm just gonna bring it back here and make sure that the grid has a little bit more thickness. There you go. Perfect. And then let's see if we are able to add another. No, that's too much. That's too much detail for like such a small part. I don't want to bother much. So okay, so see if this fixes our issue. Put the merge. Yeah, okay, that fixed it. So now we have the fillets. Right here, it's kind of weird that the fillet is actually going too far. And I wonder if it is the peaking that is too much. Because you see like it's getting that part all over there. And see how the poly wire goes. Yeah, the poly wire could be a little thinner in order to cause a better approach here. And we might not need as many segments, perhaps. Okay, let me see. because as soon as we are doing as many divisions, it's gonna like kind of to create a swirl because we don't have the normal information for each line. So I would rather just do it this way. Like less divisions is better, because or six seems fine, a little bit more uniform. Perfect. And the segments, we don't need it because there's plenty of points. So let's just test it again. Still getting those issues right there. I'm trying to find why. Okay, it's transferring to the part where it is here. Yeah, it's getting one on the top that is too much, and I don't know why it's actually making it even further. Maybe the peak is too strong right here. Let's try 2. Show me, please. Oh, what? Oh, okay. So it's the ISO value that was causing the problem, because the ISO value is actually popping up too much. And let's just check with the whole thing. A little bit better, but not exactly what I wanted to see, but it's okay. Like, it's funny because like the transfer part or whatever it's causing it, and it's trying to push this right here, and it's not. So let's just see if I can. I'm gonna try, but again, it's trying to push that, and I don't want it to happen. That's the problem. And try to put the kernel radius to 0.5 perhaps, and then there you go. A little bit too much. Let's try 50. Nope. 150. Let's just check with the high poly and see how it goes. So this guy, like right now, it's basically almost disappearing. I want to give it a try on something else, because I think that we're able to manage to get just the parts that are getting the normals. Okay, so basically what happens here is I want to find the normals that are getting closer to whatever those parts are. Okay, how do we do this? We are able to, so this object right now, I'm gonna leave the reference for us, but it seems to be a little high poly, so we can do a little bit less of the VDB. So I'm gonna put that as a lower resolution. Put it like 0.25 perhaps. Yeah, that seems to be a little bit better. No, too low now. Yeah, this is better. And then what we can do here is I'm gonna use a ray instead of using the attribute transfer for now. I'm gonna use this ray and bring this formation right here, and I want to have the objects that are the low poly in order to see what's going to happen. It's going to explode like this, do not worry. And we're going to use minimum distance. Okay, so now we have this, but we can do a maximum distance amount, so we can do like 0.001. And in order to do this, I do not want to transform the polygons. I want to make sure that I have the normal information. So you can see what's happening is we're getting just the normal information, or whatever is actually bringing closer, and it just leaves the normals for you, but it doesn't transform. Also, we have something called ray hit group. Okay, and this guy right here, we're gonna be able to see what is in this group, and use that group in order to actually hit, or even like use that to bring it to the attribute transfer per se. So now, since we tested it, we're gonna be able to, let's just do another thing here. Give me 1 second. Yeah, let's just put a little bit lower, higher resolution right now, back up, because we already know what's going on. So you can see that the group is just getting those surfaces, and I want to bring that here on the attribute transfer. And you can see that I want just the parts where destination group, the heat group to move, but not the rest, right? So let's just see if I'm able to get a better view of what we have here. Okay, and now let's just put kernel radius bigger just so we can see what it does. 10. I'm just trying to get some, it needs 3 points, by the way. There you go. Yeah, it's getting a little bit better, but not what I really wanted. Let me see if I can see with normals. Yeah, the rate hit group, it seems to be a little bit... I'm not liking the solution. Maybe I don't want the rate hit group to actually go to the attribute transfer, so I'm going to try the exclamation point. Yeah, that's what it was. I wanted the opposite, not... I didn't want to transfer that. That's the reason why it was not working correctly, so let's just check again. It seems to be a little bit better. It didn't fix that part though, but again, it's just managing to avoid some of those issues here and there. And you can always come back here and say, oh, I don't want the VDB right now because I want to make sure that I have a test case, and you can go and bring this guy and try to see if we have a better distance. Okay, so you can see that, okay, so we have this. I'm gonna bring lower. You can see how actually smashing those numbers, I mean the shapes ourselves, they're actually getting in, which is cool. Okay, and then we can actually blur this guy before we do anything. So let's just let's bring the blur here. Okay, I want to make sure that I have volume preserve. Let's see if that works. That is not good, I think. We need to see with everything. Let's put a deflation and just try a little bit less. Yeah, this seems to be a little bit better. As you can see, like it's getting that form over there. Perfect. But the hit group could be a little bit smaller. Let's see. Or actually larger. Yeah. I'm not sure if this is actually working correctly the way I thought, but it's getting better. Seems good here. Seems okay here. It's actually damaging the work I did before, so I don't know if we want to actually put a lot of effort on this part right here. But again, it's there. We got the fillet, and bam, it's a little bit better. It's funny because actually it's doing this sort of thing because it's blurring after the fact. So if you end up blurring right here, right, and you're able to transform the normals of the high poly surface. So I'm going to do that as well. So I'm going to transfer. So it's pretty much like whenever we're going to bake the low poly, we don't necessarily have to have this scene right here. We're going to fake something really interesting here that I find that usually helps looking at the object itself. I'm going to put that here, and I want just the normals, okay? I'm going to put the normals there. And I'm going to put one, perhaps like 50 over here. And blend with, and just really tiny distance. Okay, we're getting there, but still. Very small numbers right here. Okay, I think that this is a little bit better. So we're gonna try that right here. Yeah, see, like right now, what's happening is the amount of polygons that are right there are not enough, I believe, in order to smooth it out. So we need to keep playing with the kernel radius and all that stuff in order to find exactly the spot. Nope. I'm playing with numbers. I know it's sort of annoying, but right now that's good. Okay, like what we can do as well is just like put a subdivide before the effect. That will cause us to have a little bit better normal information. I'm gonna put that here, and it's incredible how it's still getting some like weird normals, and I believe it's the fact that we don't necessarily want to use attribute trends, but we want to because it actually gives that smooth preview of it. But again, it's still getting some really weird normals right there, and I believe it's because of the amount of polygons that we have in the surface. So it's a little bit annoying to actually get the results that we want perfectly, but it's better. What we can do as well is just blur a little bit of the normals after the fact. There you go. Yeah, that's much better. See, like it just gives that sense of, oh, nice. Let's move forward because or we're going to spend a lot of time. But one of the things is that because we got so thin, we need to make sure that the poly wire again is a little bit thicker because we want to see those fillets, right? We do not want to just be with them just because. There you go, much better. All right, again, I'm being very picky. Now we are able to select this whole scenario right here and try to bring the part where the VDB of the high poly into whatever we have, and we're going to merge those two together. So let's go convert to VDB, and we're getting we want to make sure that we have enough resolution, so I'm going to put this as 3. And we can see naturally we are going to get some of those fillets, right, which are smaller, which is nice, but we wanted the larger ones, which is okay to have. So I'm gonna bring that high poly right here. Let's just check and see if we get the whole thing together. Okay, I'm gonna bring a normal right here. And bam, okay. Now, we do not want to use the adaptive mode. Forgive me. We definitely don't want to use it because we want, if we're going to try to like create any sort of detail on the VDB side of things, we do want the amount of resolution all over the mesh. Okay, so I'm going to put it to 0. So you can see it's really high poly right now. Okay, as you can see. Okay. And now we can start playing around with some little details here and there. Before we do so, I'd say this is probably not going to work so well as that amount of polygons. Like we definitely need to manage this before we move forward because even any sort of a displacement texture or anything like that, it will run really slow. But there's some secrets that I find it like interesting in order to play around. We kind of like do a clip, right? We clip like just one part that we want to see, and we manage to do all the details that we want from that guy, like curvature or anything like that, and then you set it up to bake it after. So, all right, this seems to be a little bit better. Now let's do that. So let's just bring those guys together and do a clip. The Labs team created something called box clip, which is fantastic, by the way. And this box clip pretty much will do whatever we're talking about. So I'm going to actually turn off the manual update. So I'm going to bring that down here. I do not want to see, all right, what was there before. So I just want to make sure that I have the template. Let's see if I can see the template at least. Yeah, okay, perfect. Because we have the box, but I do not want it to clip in real time. I just want to see the preview of it. So I'm just going to bring that down here. Let's see, but let's choose a nice part to clip because I want to make sure that I have enough things to see what we're going to work on. I'm going to clip like maybe 1/4 of it, I guess. That seems to be good. So I'm going to save the file again and refresh. Hopefully it will work. Using the clip. Let's calculating on the bottom. It's probably going to take a little while because it has to cut a lot of polygons. So there you go. Okay, now we do not want to see the template anymore, so we know that even though we put anything in the bottom of the clip, it will manage to be working after. I do want to do something here that I think that will be better for us to optimize our time, so I'm going to bring that up right here. Okay, there's enough detail right here for us to play around with, so there you go. The less polygons you have, the best. All right, and then we do a manual update. It's going to do the whole calculation again. There you go. So now we can just play it with that section. One try. Alright, so let's start by like looking at the reference itself, right? We know that, I mean, it's a very organic, I mean, it's a real object. It has a lot of dents and you know, grunge, but we want to see what is actually really volume based, not just the color. So as an artist, you have to have the right eyes in order to see. So for example, all of this over here is all calcification. It's not necessarily the shape that is deforming, but we want to have a little bit of the bending, right? And I'm gonna try to see if I'm able to bring some of that. So let's go back here, and by knowing that we have those guys separate, we may have to come back there like later on and combine those two, but let's leave it like that for now because we want to move forward. And with the beauty of procedural, we can always go back. All right, let's do a VOP node, point VOP, and it's this VOP node. I'm gonna save the file in order to put auto update because I actually want to see now in real time. And inside this VOP, we're gonna start playing around with some interesting noises. Okay, the first noise that I want to do is just an overall sort of bending, like it's very just to break up the specularity. But in order to do that, we want to blur the normals the shit ton. So we're gonna bring that here, and we want to bring normals. I do not want to pinpoint anything. I'm gonna bring those normals to be like 500. That seems to be good. So the mesh itself is there, as you can see. It's just that the normals are very smooth now, and that makes whenever you do the displacement, it's not gonna cause some seams here and there, which is a good thing. And also another thing that I can do here, let me think. I want some sort of a mask. Well, I can do it inside, but let me think. Actually, let's do one over here, so it's very smooth, and let's go inside. Pipe up, perfect. No, I did want something. I'm gonna create a measure, and in this measure, we want to make sure that we have sort of like the curvature, right, that we have on the object. So I'm going to bring this to be CD. And let's see if we're able to see anything going on. We're not getting much because we're putting in the area. We want a curvature. And this will give me a little bit more of information in order to play around with what, like, tiny little edge distortion or any kind of bending. So I'm gonna definitely use this, and I'm gonna try to put this as 40. Let's see how it goes. Or we can actually blur this. So we're gonna do this. I'm gonna put this one. Let's see if the Gaussian is a little bit better. No, Gaussian is too small. Let's put as principal. I can keep testing because I never know necessarily what is the information right there. So I have to like always like play around with the values. Yeah, it seems like this guy will give me a little bit more value, curveness, but I'm gonna put a 6. It's fine. And I don't want it to be called CD because I want this to be used later. So I'm going to put curvature. And after the fact of the blur. I don't know if it actually changes with the normal. No, perfect. Okay. Let's go back to our point VOP. Let's bring the light on. And let's call to a bind. We're going to call it curvature here. It's a float, so it's all good. And then we have the normal. So I want to put a displace along normal. I'm going to be showing you a little bit just of that part, guys. I'm getting tired. If there's any questions or anything like that, probably another... I have to have a break at least of 5 minutes to go to the restroom, and maybe another half an hour. So if you guys have questions, please do now. Right, so we want the curvature itself. We may want to have to blur it before we do anything here. So I'm going to put a blur. Usually whenever I'm like too close to the monitor and Houdini UI just makes my headache go super strong. So I really want to try to get like at least 5 minutes. So I'm gonna try this first, and then we'll. Let me see. Want to pressing X on the keyboard, you're gonna be able to visualize your attribute. So I'm gonna put curvature here. Okay. Seems that is not blurring enough. So I'm going to blur more. Okay, good. Okay. And then let's bring back to our point VOP. And let's use let's try the whirly for now. Whirly noise. And the whirly noise, what we can do here, okay, so there's two things that we can play with. We can use the normals as the position on the whirly itself and bring the scale here, which is, it can actually cause some interesting aspects. So we can play with those things. I'm gonna put like over here perhaps 0.1. It's gonna do a lot, I know, but we need a normal after the fact. So I'm gonna bring a normal here, and we can see that the whirly is happening. But we want to mix those two together. So the displacement is too big right now, so I'm going to bring this to be 0.01, perhaps even less. I mean, a little bit more. And I actually want to make it negative, so because I want it to go in. And this guy needs to have a different type of frequency, or even like in the position itself. I'm going to bring a curl noise 3D. Okay, so the scroll noise 3D, what's going to happen is we want to add information of whatever's happening there on the UVs of the normal, on the vectors. So if I bring this to the color, you guys are going to see what's happening. You can see that I'm getting the vectors of that, right? And that is really cool because it enables me to bring this to the whirly itself. And if we look at just the colors, I'm going to take off the displacement so you guys can see. It kind of gives me a lot of interesting noise information that I want. So like I'm trying to get that surface, right, the shape and form to go that route. So you go that way, and you can see how it's managing to do some interesting surface displacement. And we can do even more. So for example, let's just say we go here. Let's try the amplitude a little bit higher. Actually, no, lower. And the frequency of this lowered. But then let's get the whirly a little bit higher. Okay. We can keep playing with the frequencies and all that stuff, and we're gonna get some really interesting information. And there's another thing that I really like to do is we can do let me think here, a convex shape. Where is the convex hull? Perfect. And we're gonna get a convex hull from the blur right here, okay? And as you can see, we have the shape and form of the convex hull, and we're gonna do a remesh. We may not even need the curvature, to be honest. We might just be able to use it this way. I'm gonna put it in remesh, and we want to make sure that this is way smaller. Oh, I remember I saved this guy. It's funny. Okay. target multiplier. Okay, maybe less. Okay, so we now have some mesh in there. I'm gonna put a little bit more. Okay, a little bit less. And I'm gonna transfer, or actually ray, that information to whatever we have in the object before. So as you can see, it's not doing anything because we need to make sure there's minimum distance. Okay, so you're getting that. And I'm gonna remesh it again. And now we have some sort of a formation that we can actually use that normal and transfer back that normal to whatever we have in high poly. So that's something that will cause us to have some sort of, you know, any kind of mask that you want to do or play around with. So let's just get that going. I'm going to put a normal here. Points each vertex angle. Perfect. And I'm going to transfer that information to or high poly. And we want to make sure that we call. Okay, so here's one of the things. We have the normal going on over here, but we do want to rename. It's not necessarily the normal that you want. You want to I'm just going to do that as a preview, but we definitely want to call it a different name later. I'm going to show you why. Okay, and actually we might be okay just doing this way, but let's try what we're looking for here. So I'm going to put the conditions. I'm going to make sure that we have a less kernel radius, perhaps 100. That is too much. It's 2.1. So it's trying to get the information too close to the surface, but as you can see, it's getting some texture in there, and that's not good. I don't want to have to rely on having the sampling that way. So if I do this, the sampling is kind of low, right? We definitely don't want to have. I'm gonna try it to 500 or something like that. That's much better. Okay, so you can see the sampling really helps. And let's do 0.5 here. Okay. So now that we have this information, instead of actually using the normal that we had on as blurred, we're going to use this, and you guys are going to see what actually happens. Let's put this light over here, and I'm bringing that to the color. We don't want the color anymore, so I'm going to check that off. All right, and then let's bring the displacement. One of the things is, we're getting values that are in between 0 and 1, right, from the whirly itself. So if you like, let's just go back here and just toss it on the color just so you guys can see. We do not want let me just put a color that is a little bit better to the material. I just want you guys to visualize this a little bit better. And let's put the gamma as 1. Okay, perfect. So you can see that we have a good frequency, and it's actually getting some information that we want, and you can try like getting some bending over there. But I want to make sure that I have what can I say? How can I call it? I want to make sure that I have the values that are black to be negative 0.5, right? And the values that are white to be kind of like gray. Or you can do even a -1 to 1. So it's just pretty much the idea of like, I want to create a dot product of whatever it is, the values right there. So this way, we're going to do a thing called fit unclipped. Okay, so just going to bring those values there. I'm just going to bring it to the color right there. So the source itself is 0 to 1, and I want to make sure that it's -1 to 1. Or you can do -0.5 to 0.5. Right now it's not showing anything. Actually, forgive me, it has to be 1.5 because you want to get the differentiation of 2, right? And now if I bring these values to the scale right here, see how it goes without the color. I'm gonna bring the light again. Wow, it's really lit. 1 second. Let's bring the scene back again, 2.2. I don't know why it's so bright. I think it's because of the diffuse color is too much. Let's put 0.5, 0.5. What the hell? Hugo, know how to type. Okay, there you go. So you can see now that we have that information and like it's getting some of that the transformation. But over here, if I bring this to be higher, now the values are going up and down instead of actually just going in or out, right? So that's a good thing. That's something that you want to make sure that you do. And what we can do here is the roughness of that one is like a little larger. We don't want that. And the whirly, here's one. Whirly might not be a good idea because it's causing some like seams right here, like some shapes and forms that are not what we want. So we may have to find another noise. So let's just check. Voronoi not so good for that. So let's do a curl. Let me think about this. Let's try the turbulent noise. And I think the turbulent noise is already negative to positive. So it's probably going to do a better job for us. So we might not even need the fit. Let's just check. Yeah, it is doing a better job. Let me put a little higher intensity. No, it's not doing positive and negative. We're going to have to use the E-fit. So I'm going to put that here and bring that there. Okay, it's too much right now, so I'm going to have to diminish the intensity of the displacement. And the E-fit seems to be incorrect. So I'm going to try 0 out again. Yeah, it's going in right now because it's the noise. This noise works a little bit different, guys. It's not the same because I think it's already doing the job, but in a very different. Let's see. Nope. Let me try this 1.5 again. I don't know why it's actually doing. Because turbulent noise is supposed to be. It's going negative. Okay, so I'm gonna have to find why is it going negative now. Interesting. Like, see how I don't even know why that's happening. Oh, okay, because it's the alligator noise. Alligator noise, that's one of the issues. You never know what the normalization of each noise does, so you have to find out by yourself. So let's just do that way right here. -1 and 1. I think that's what it is. Hopefully. Nope. So this is 0. Let's see if that works now. Nope. It's annoying, I know. It's just the way it is. There's nothing I can do about it. Or we can try doing 0 and 1 here, and then do -1 there. Let's see if this works. Actually, opposite. No, that's correct. We're gonna find it soon. So it's -1 to 1. That should do the job, no? Yeah, it's not going. It's like going out only, and it's not going in at all. Maybe -1.5 and 0.5. Let's see. Seems to be almost there, as you can see. Almost there. So let's see. I think I'll do -2 to 1. Yeah, I think that's work. No, it's not. -3. Come on, work now, buddy. Yeah, perfect. Okay, so we found it. So it was a difference of 4, or even like I can do -0.25 and then 1 or anything like that, or 0.75. But I'll just leave it that way. So now I'm gonna put way less information, of course, of displacement, as you guys can see. So now we're getting some sort of like warping, and let's just play with the frequency and how we can handle this. And we can do perhaps less roughness, and we can play with also the like a specific direction if you want to. Just do 5 here. That seems to be a little bit better. And amplitude maybe less. No, actually amplitude needs to be higher. Oh yeah, so that's another thing that I noticed in the past, is that the amplitude and the attenuation, right? they are also whatever the effect does. I never knew it. So perhaps those values, whenever you play around with, we might get you what you were looking for. So let's just play around with the colors because I really want to see what is in the colors, not just the noise. Let's bring just the positive one so we can see. Okay, the curl noise, we might want to play around with a little bit more with the shape and forms of the frequency. That's getting too much. Let's put sparse convolution noise. 5.5, 0.5, 0.5. Okay. Yeah, it's a little bit better. Okay, just one. Well, I'm just literally trying to get some interesting aspect here, but again, we never know perfectly what we're gonna do. So we're gonna have to keep playing around with the values in order to get what you're looking for. But sometimes it's fun. I like to kind of because I usually find so many different solutions, right, whenever I'm playing around with the stuff. But again, I don't want to lose your guys' time right now. So let's just use this way for now. And what we can do here is, I do not want to get too much roughness. It's too much right here. Yeah, there you go. Just get a little bit bending, but it's not entirely too strong. And the whirling noise is a problem because we're able to get the whirling noise, but one of the things that I really wanted side effects to do actually create a blur on inside of the VOP, and you can't. Like unfortunately, you have to rely on doing it outside, or you can do a lot of math right there, but it's gonna be very expensive perhaps. So I prefer to do it outside. So instead of actually using this whirling noise right here, what we can do is, let's go back here and try to create a noise on this guy. So I'm going to bring noise attribute. And as soon as I do this, we're going to create a noise from, I'm going to put a center noise. I want to create 1D, I believe. And then, no, center doesn't have to be center, but it's just, actually it has to be center because we're going to scale that guy out later. And I want to get the element size to be much smaller. I don't want too much amplitude. Okay, that seems to be good. The simplex is fine. A little bit less, yeah, like this. And then I'm gonna blur this guy out. So I'm gonna call this actually, I'm gonna put like noise, whatever, right? And I'm gonna blur this. And perhaps like 5. We're gonna check inside, so we're gonna see what happens. Come back in, and instead of actually using, remember we're using the curvature later on. I'm saving this guy here, but I also want to make sure that I have the noise, and the noise is the one that is gonna go in amplitude right here. So now we're able to see perhaps a little bit better of whatever's happening outside. It's gonna bring the normal right here. And now I'm able to just blur the shit ton of this and see if I get the result I want. Yeah, that's much better. See, like it's a little smoother, and you're getting the bends. But again, I'm gonna keep moving forward, guys. I need to go restroom real quick, and I'll be right back. Okay. Hello, hello, I'm back. All right, so let's just go back to our Houdini. So in order for us to actually see a little bit more of the specularity of the model, I like to do something real quick. I'm gonna go back to our object, right? I'm just gonna put a light here. Find it easier for us to really see what's going on. It's gonna be blue like that because I have to change the ambient. So 5 by 5, maybe less. I'm gonna put that here. Okay, and I want to make sure that the diffuse is much less as well. And you can see that we have a color for the specular. So I'm going to choose a color that kind of is a little bit different, and make sure that the diffuse as well has a little color that is opposite of whatever is going on the specular. Usually the motor way kind of way of seeing the surface. Because then you can definitely see how the specularity is acting on the model, right? And another thing is we want to make sure that we have some ambient occlusion going on, so we're going to turn that on here. Perfect. Let's see what we have in order to have the ambient occlusion to be a little stronger. I don't remember necessarily where was it, but I'm trying to find it. Lights. Yeah, right here. Yeah, that seems to be the max, so which is fine. All right, so that gives us a sense of like, oh, okay, now the specularity is reaching out and it's getting us a better sense of how the surface is acting, right? How acting on like a working. And we see that this is a kind of little bit too blur, not as blurred enough. So I'm gonna put a little bit more blur to this guy, and we get that information and bring back here and keep playing with the noises, right? Because of the curl noise is sparse convolution noise, we can change anything here and just see how it's going to correspond to what we have there. So I'm going to keep playing around with some information here and see what we can really find out. Because it's the UVs themselves, and UVs, whatever we have in the curl noise, is a good idea to just see what they're causing to the mesh itself. And I'm also going to put a little more displacement in order to check things out. And now it's going negative again. I don't know why, but we'll find out later. I'm just going to keep playing with the noises here and see if we can find a better noise that works for our UVs. Let's put the frequencies 1 and 1 and 1 and less roughness. There you go. I think this seems good, but I want to see if it's actually, why is it going negative again? Oh my god. I think it's because we changed the noise before, and now I don't remember. Ugh, all over again, guys. Forgive me. Let's put 2 over here. I think this is, yeah, now I think it's gonna work. No. Oh. One day I'll learn this, because honestly I never remember correct what causes that. CD, okay. Let me see with just no color. This way we're gonna be able to find exactly the values that are going through the whole section. That's 1 minus 0.5 and 0.5. Nope. I wish there wasn't like a documentation shows, okay, maybe it's this. Maybe it's just 0, 1 and 0, 1. I don't know why. But that seems to be working better. Yep, that's it. Perfect, okay, we found it. Now let's get the colors out, right? And I want to make sure that we are able to get the curvature, right? I'm gonna put a little bit noise. There you go. I want to make sure that we get the curvature that we have here and kind of start creating some masks in order to get it blurred and everything like that. So we know that we have the curvature here, right? We added before, I believe, somewhere right here. We have the curvature, so the attribute is there. Let's see, it is here. Perfect. Let's just check the colors and see if actually we didn't miss anything. So let's bring the colors in there. Yeah, it is there, which is good. Okay. Now, what we want to do is I want to try to blur that curvature, but mixed with something else, right? So let's just say I have that as color, but I want to make sure that I have another noise. Could be the turbulence noise, that's fine. It's going to create a mask that is going to be exported in order to be blurred after. Okay, so it's kind of interesting what I'm going to try to do here. So I want to mix those two. So I'm going to bring this right here, the turbulence noise there. And let's play around with the perhaps sparse convolution noise. And let's just check the color. Okay. Maybe we actually want this to be minimum and not mix. So I'm going to put a minimum here. And then put that there. Okay, good. And we want to make sure that both values are clamped, because we do not want the values to go beyond 0 and 1. Okay. No. And we want this to have a lot of frequency, so I'm going to bring more frequency to it. So as you can see, it's getting that thing there. But the turbulent noise is using the noise normals in order to do what we were doing before. I don't want that. I want just the regular position of the world, as you can see. And I want way more frequency as well. And it seems to me that is also getting, let's put a fit here so we can see better. It's getting like some of the values are going up over here and down there. We do not want to do that. So I'm going to try to use another noise here. 1 second. Or more roughness perhaps. Yep, that's good. And attenuation perhaps. Let's put attenuation to be larger. And we want more fit. So let's try. Okay. Still not doing the right job of what that I wanted to see. Let me see if I unclamp this and see if I clamped it after. Interesting. Let's put this fit over here. Okay. Okay, now it works, because what happens was that we were getting the values in the middle, and we definitely don't want that. So I'm gonna bring some more here. So now we know that we have those values. I'm gonna bring also a clamp right here. And we have all this information, whatever the curvature is doing right there. And let's add more to this. Give me 1 second. Let me put like 100. So we get more information, and attenuation to be larger and less roughness. No, more. Maybe the sparse convolution noise is not as good as I wanted. What we can do as well, in order to actually have some sort of variation, we are going to mix between the position, right, and the normal information that we brought up. So let's just do that. And let's mix that and bring it here. Okay, that's much better. So it actually follows a little bit of the normals, right, but not entirely. And let's bring that note here. Let's put this at 1000. And this guy, let me see. Because I wanted to have a little smoother, maybe not so much, as much roughness, attenuation, yeah. Let's try 2, 4. Turbulence. Yeah, maybe sparse convolution noise is not working. We're gonna have to find something else. Let's try simplex. And attenuation, yeah. Not as rough. A little bit better, but not there yet. There's another noise that I like to use, which is called veins. Veins actually, it's one of my most used noises. I don't even know why I didn't remember to use it. So Okay, let's try the veins here, and then the fit itself, give me just one. Perfect. Because I think the veins is already clamped. And we can use noise frequency right here. Ah, there you go. So maybe we can being able to find what we wanted before. And the vein attenuation, perfect. The vein frequency. And we're able to use as cylindrical as well, or even like spherical. So it kind of changes a little bit of the way it works. And let's put more noise. I don't want as many veins, and I think this is fine for now. I'm gonna play around with more later. We can also do something interesting, which is mixing those guys together. So let's just do that. I remember that I have this as being 1000, and we clamp after the fact, and we bring a mix. And let's see what it does. Okay. Let's see if the fit over here can be less. Okay. Or maybe even higher. Yeah, that's good. Because it kind of gives a very tiny little details here and there. And we don't necessarily need to actually blur the curvature right here, because I think that we blurred too much. So let's bring that down a little notch. And the curvature itself can be way less, how can I say? Let's get this to be like mean, because I want very thin edges surrounding those guys. And now it's getting me issues, but let's see what's causing this. Let's try the Gaussian. Yeah, it's getting the information of the curvature, but now the whole thing is not clamping. God knows why. Okay, let's try 5 here. Nope. Bear with me, guys. Unfortunately, it is some sort of experimentation. You never know like what you're gonna get, right? So unfortunately, that's how I deal with it. And this to be here. Let's see. It's interesting because it's clamping on the VOP, but it's not here. What the hell? So I'm gonna have to go back to the VOP and see what is causing that the issue. Let's see. If I'm clamping this guy and I'm putting minimum, what we can do then is multiply again. Let's just try multiply instead of minimum. No, it's not. I'm not getting what I want. Maybe this clamp doesn't need to exist. I don't know what's going on. Yeah, okay, I'm getting the values there, and the curvature is right here. So let's just try this guy to be 1. No, it can't be, because I need the values there. Ugh. Maybe it's this the problem. No. Yeah, it's multiplying, and I'm not getting what I was expecting. And the curvature itself, let's bring the curvature here. Oh, okay, so it's not getting the curvature somehow. I'm not getting the information here, and I don't know why. Yeah, I see like it's not bringing anything at all. Let's try the medium. Yeah, so it was the medium, but I don't know why it was not actually bringing what we wanted. Let's try the curveness again. Okay, I think I probably found the issue here. We'll see. There you go. So it's just much sharper, right? As you can see, like we're getting much more of the edging, not just the whole thing. And if we blur this by, so there's another way that we can blur this, guys, which I find it really nice. You're able to blur by proximity. Okay, so what this does is if I have a proximity radius of, I don't know, 1, it's gonna try to blur by the amount of neighbors that are surrounding each vert. As you can see, it kind of gives you that kind of sharpened view of the surface. It kind of, I found it like recently. It fakes it out, kind of like a sharpen. You can put even more if you wanted to, like just say 2 proximity radius. Let's keep testing this, or less. Let's try 0.5, 0.1. I think it's because the file is so small that it's hard for us to see what's causing it. 5. Okay, let's try 5 here. Yeah, I mean, it's just something that might help, like getting some. Yeah, there you go. So because I'm using volume preserving, so you can see really well how the noise is acting. So let's go back there and bring the multiply in. Hope that works now. Perfect. Okay, nice. But now I want more intensity on this guy. Okay, and more intensity on this one as well. And I want to like kind of like bring a little bit more sharpness to this. So I'm gonna fit. We can do actually a fit after the fact. So I'm gonna bring a fit right here on after the multiply. Okay, this will be much easier, of course. Again, I'm not trying to. You should definitely do this in Painter, for example. You should not do that in Houdini, because it will take you so much longer to actually get the information. But at the same time, it's good to learn. So I find it like entertaining. I know a lot of people might not find it. I do. So I get like a lot of information that I could use for other different things in my any kind of like asset that I create. And you can actually save this, you know, as a digital asset and just use it later if you want to create masks for baking or anything like that. All right, but I don't like these veins too much. So I'm trying to change a little bit more. And let's see, noise amplitude. Perfect. All right, so let's go back there. We know that we have the curvature right here as color. So I want to bind export this as, I'm gonna call it a different name here. Let's see, blur curvature. I'm gonna be finishing these guys really soon. Another 5-10 minutes, hope so. I'm like super tired. All right, so then I'm gonna go geo. I hope everyone is well, by the way. Like, thank you for joining and getting to learn stuff together. Now we know that we don't want that as color, so I'm gonna take that off as the color. And this blur curvature is an attribute, so I'm gonna use that. I'm gonna copy that guy out and bring a blur outside of this right here. And let's bring our like super light, and let's just check and see what this does. So I'm gonna bring the weight attribute right here and bring the blur out and just try to blur a little bit. So you can start seeing that we are getting some really interesting things right there, right? And it's cool because it pretty much gives you the possibility of playing around with having some dents and, you know, naturality of the surface per se. And you can also use the proximity one, which is the one that we're talking about, like sharpening, right? So you can get that right here, and it gives you a different aspect to it. We can also go back to the noise itself and keep playing with the values and keep getting yourself some different aspects of it. Let's try 0.5 here, 0.6, maybe 0. There you go. It's just something that, you know, it really gives you that edge control that a lot of people do that by, you know, using masks in a Painter or even like generators. And you can do your own generator in Houdini too. But you're already seeing the mesh itself. Alright. Let's bring the fit over here. Okay, so I'm gonna bring this fit to be really tight. because I want this to really work for really tiny little edges. I'm gonna try to do this 0.1 and this 0.099. There you go. A little bit better. No, I want even less because I want to get all the contrast possible from this. So let's just put 0.1 and 0.02. Oh, okay. See, like it's kind of sort of getting like a metal look to it. That's really cool, but it's not what I want. So I'm gonna try 0.02. Let me try by just rolling the numbers down. Yeah, okay, so it's getting there, but it's getting too blurred right now. And it's hard to find it, like, because you don't see the colors themselves. So I'm gonna put the color over here so you can see what's going on. Okay, so I want this to be 0. Okay, and then this to be 0.01. Let's see what that does. That's not what I want. 0.0, let's try 0.1 and then 0.099. Okay, we're getting there. Perfect. 5 and then put this as 0.06. Nope. 2. Okay, 1. I did this before. Okay, this is better, but no, it's too much. Because it's getting a threshold that is annoying right there. I don't know what we can do as well. Like for example, if you have the value over here, right? I'm gonna put the value right here and paste the relative reference, and then just do like plus 0.001. So you get all the maximum of values of it, but you don't want too much, or you still want to have some of that blur right there. And now I just move this slider. And I can do just by the interface here and say, oh, source minimum. So we're gonna find the source minimum. And oh, we cannot change the range here, and I know why. Okay. We can do another way. We can create a value, a new float. And in this float, we can do like a threshold, I guess. And put the range to be, let's see, 0.01 to 0.015. I guess, or like anything they want that is so like a. Actually, no, sorry. We could do like 0.001 and then 0.1. That should be good. 5. And then I'm gonna clamp those guys. Apply. I'm gonna see that we have this threshold here, so I'm gonna copy this guy there and paste it. Perfect. And now I'm able to see a little bit better what we wanted to do. Okay, so this is good. Let's go back to our 3D view and take the color off for now. And let's make sure that we do the curvature right here a little bit thicker, so we can actually get more to our bucket over here. Yeah, there you go. That's awesome. Since you have that curvature, right, and you already blurred that curvature as well, there's also the possibility of you using ambient occlusion, so you can actually blur the ambient occlusion side of it or anything like that. So it just gives you those really cool values. I'm gonna blur the curvature a little bit more in order for us to have a little bit more of the edging. Let's do ablation. And that's not do proximity. I'm gonna do like just the connectivity. Yeah, there you go. Yay, nice. That's really cool. So now we see that we have that detail in there, right? I'm gonna save the file, guys, for tonight. Is great. I mean, there's plenty that we can do here, but at the same time, I really need to go rest. I really appreciate your time, and hopefully tomorrow, I'm not sure yet, we'll be able to do some more. Again, waiting for requests, anything that you guys need. Keep me posted. I know I'm like I'm just going around and around and like showing things here and there, but the objective of this is actually for us to communicate and be able to ask things that you guys want to see instead of just me like playing around. I'm doing my best to just bring any information, but it would be awesome to have your feedback, and that will give me a little bit better perspective of what you guys really want to see, and not because for me, I'm doing this for you guys, not for myself. Again, I can learn, but I'm doing this for people. So keep me posted. Send me Facebook message, or even like post on YouTube any request, and I'll be happy to help. Thank you so much. Have a good night.